Hey everyone, welcome. This is the install walkthrough for WhosWhoZoo, your self-hosted private AI memory system. Quick note up front, this is not like downloading an app from the App Store. What you're actually doing is setting up a private infrastructure that you own, no subscription, no company reading your data, and it costs almost nothing to run. The total time is about 20 to 30 minutes, mostly waiting on sign-up confirmation emails. The configurator itself only runs about 2 to 3 minutes once you have your keys. So here's the plan. You'll set up 4 accounts and grab an API key from each. You'll then do a one-time purchase of the configurator. It costs $15. Finally, you'll log in and add your first memory. So before we start, I want you to open a plain text file. I use a simple template that looks like this. Go ahead and pause your video right now and create a plain text file similar to this one. We're going to be collecting 4 API keys. And then after the configurator runs, we will be given a WhosWhoZoo URL and a WhosWhoZoo access key. Alrighty, we are going to start with Cloudflare. So the step 1 here, we're going to cloudflare.com and you're going to sign up. You don't need a domain or a credit card, just an email. I recommend signing in with Google if you have it. It's the fastest way to set this up. So we're going to go to cloudflare.com, and Cloudflare is the foundation of everything we build on. It hosts the app itself, stores all your memory files, and runs the worker, the small piece of the server code that handles the request between the browser and Claude. When you open WhosWhoZoo on your phone or laptop, you're talking to a Cloudflare account. Nobody else's servers are involved. I'm going to go ahead and log in. I've already pre-created my account or signed up. So I'm going to log in with my Google account. I'm going to choose my Google account. Okay, now I'm at the dashboard for my Cloudflare account. Once you're at the dashboard, we need to create an API token. This is Cloudflare's way of giving the configurator permission to set up your app in your account. To do this, we're going to click on the icon up in the right-hand corner and go to Profile. From here, we're going to click on API Tokens. And from the API Tokens menu, we're going to Create Token. In our setup, we're going to create a custom token where we create the least amount of permissions that are needed in order for our memory system to operate. To do this, we're going to click on Create Custom Token, click Get Started. We need to give the token a name. Let's call it whoozoo. It doesn't really matter what you name this token, we just need to give it a name. Now we're going to give a bunch of permissions to this token. So here under permissions, we select worker scripts and grant edit. We're going to add another. We're going to go to worker KV storage and give it edit permissions. We're going to add another. We're going to add workers R2 storage and give this edit. We're going to add another permission and we're going to give it Cloudflare pages and give this edit rights. And finally, we're going to add one more permission. This is for the user. We're going to give it API tokens and also give it edit rights. From here on out, we can keep everything the same and continue the summary. As you can see, we have a summary here of the token that we're about to create. Then we create token. We need to copy this token now. Once we go off this screen, you will not see it again. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and I'm going to paste it into my template. Cloudflare API token, and there's the API that I created. To confirm this, I'm going to go ahead and refresh my API tokens, and as you can see, I've got a token called whoszoo, and it's active. Okay, at this point, we're going to now set up our Anthropic API and account. So from a browser, we're going to go to console.anthropic.com. Notice here that it changed it to platform.claude.com. And again, you will either need to sign up for a new account or log into an existing account, and I would recommend using a Google account. I'm going to go ahead and log in with my Google account. So Anthropic is the company that makes Claude, the AI that powers the brain of WhosWhoZoo. When you ask an app a question like, who do I talk to about HR? It's Claude that reads your entire memory and figures out the answer. Every question you ask, every memory you save, Claude is doing that reasoning work. That's what the API key unlocks. Once you're in, we're going to go ahead and create an API token. But before we do that, you'll need to at least put some money into the API bucket. We'll need to fill that bucket with some tokens. So from here on the left console, go down to the very bottom and log into organization settings. From here, you want to go to billing, and you need to put some type of billing credits onto your account. Notice here I have $9.38. $10 will go a very long way, several months, depending on the way that you use your whoszoo application. While you're here, I'm going to give you a tip. I also recommend putting in limits so that you can put in a limit, a billing limit, where you can adjust that limit. And I would recommend starting off with a monthly spend limit of $10. This allows a limit if you're ever compromised, your API key is compromised, you're not going to get dinged with your billing. Again, normal use, maybe 10 to 30 questions a day, you're looking at $1 to $3 a month. $10 will last you a long time. From here, we're going to click on API keys. And we're going to create an API key for Anthropic. And again, we can name this whatever we want. We're going to call it whoszoo. And click Add. Again, you need to copy this API key because once you close this window, there's no way to get it back unless you delete the API key and recreate a new one. Go ahead and click Done. And let's go over to our template and paste in this API key for Anthropic. Now we're going to get the API key for OpenAI. From here, we're going to navigate to platform.openai.com. And again, we're going to log in with a Google account. So you'll need to sign in or log in. So I've already done this step of creating a platform.openai.com and created an account using my Google email address. Once you get to the dashboard like you see here, you'll need to go to the bottom down to organization, and you go to organization settings, very similar to Anthropic. And from here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to billing, and we're going to put some balance in a bucket that will be pulled against as the application runs throughout the months. $10 will go a very long way. This is used specifically for the text-to-speech and also for a few of the voices that are within the application, Marin and Onyx. They're a little bit slower than ElevenLabs, but they're perfect and don't cost hardly anything to operate and run. So from here, I also would recommend putting limits, and this one also has a spend limit of $10. All right, after we've done the billing, we need to go and create an API key. We're all about creating these API keys. I'm going to create a new secret. Let's call it whoszoo. And we'll leave the default project, and we'll create a key. Again, we're going to copy this and paste it into our template. There's our API key for OpenAI. Okay, we're making progress here. On to the next step, creating an API key for ElevenLabs. ElevenLabs is also a text-to-speech service, but with a different voice style than OpenAI. It adds 2 additional voices to the app, Brittany and Column. It's completely optional. If you skip it, the app works perfectly with OpenAI voices. The free tier gives you about 10 minutes of audio per month, which is plenty for most people. Once you're in the profile, once you go here, go to profile and then down to subscription. As you can see here, this is a free account. You can add ElevenLabs API tokens if you so desire, and if you like those 2 voices, and you use more than 10 minutes a month. From here, we're going to go down to developers, and then click on API keys. And we're going to create an API key. We'll call this name whoszoo. And the only access that we need is text-to-speech. And let's go ahead and create that token. And here's copy it to clipboard, and we're going to take this and add it to our text file template. And from here, we're going to take it and copy this to our API template. Okay, next step. All 4 keys are filled in, and your text file now says you are ready for the install. That's exactly where we want to be. Now we're going to go to whoszoo.app and download the installers. Now we're going to go to the whoszoo app and click on the Get the Installers link. When you click on this button, it will take you to Gumroad. Gumroad is an application that allows us to email you the installer files once you make a purchase for the install downloads. One important thing to understand is these really aren't installers in the traditional sense. They're configurators. What they do is take your API keys and deploy your memory system into your Cloudflare account. Once that's done, the app itself runs on any browser, on any device, Windows, Mac, iPhone, Android, it doesn't matter. So if you're on a Mac, you can use Windows Configurator and it works perfectly. And the other way around. You run this once to set things up, and then you never need it again. This is what keeps the lights on for the project. There's no monthly fee passed on to you, just the API usage you control in your own accounts. So from here, you'll need to download either version and we'll run it next. Once you make this purchase, you will get an email like this. Once you get this email, you can view content and gain access to the installers. I'm on a Windows machine, so I'm going to go ahead and download the Windows setup. Okay, we're making progress. We need to double-click the whoszoo file that we downloaded. I'm going to go ahead and double-click this setup. When I double-click it, Windows may warn you, due to its smart screen, just click More Info and Run Anyway. The binary is unsigned because this isn't a big commercial publisher. That's completely normal for self-hosted tools like this. And it will also add a tab to your screen for the install instructions that will be, it'll be extracted right next to the exe once you execute it. So the WhosWhoZoo setup guide will also open up in a browser. And here are further details, which we're running through right now, of all the different, of how to install the whoszhoozoo app, gathering the 4 API keys and then placing those API keys within the installer itself. So I'm going to go ahead and open the installer here, and it opens this terminal window. And from here, we're going to go to where we have our 4 API keys, and we're going to copy them and place them into the installer. So the very first thing it asks you for is your Cloudflare API token. Let's go ahead and grab that. And hit enter. And at this point, it is determining if you have an install before or if this is an upgrade. As you can see here, no existing install was found, and it's a fresh install. It's going to ask you for several things during the setup: your name and all the other API keys. So when we're ready, we're going to go ahead and press enter. It first asks for your name. I'll go ahead and put Hans. Now it's asking for your Anthropic API key. Let's go ahead and go back to your template and grab that key. This is for Claude. Now it's asking for your OpenAI key. And optionally, it's asking for your ElevenLabs API key. Okay, your installation is finished. But before I gather these 2 things that are in here, it says setup complete, save these 2 items, things you'll need to log in: your app URL and your access key. I do want to go back and make sure that you understand that in the install guide, if you're on a Mac, on step 6, it does explain how to run the setup on a Mac. Very similar to where Windows has a smart block that may warn you. There's a system very similar on a Mac. Okay, now we need to grab this URL right here. And I'm going to go ahead and grab this and Control C and copy that and paste this into my template. And I'm going to grab my access key and paste that in. We're complete with the install. And you can hit enter to continue to close this window. Okay, your text file is now completely filled out. Store it somewhere safe. A password manager is ideal. Okay, now that you've configured your application and run the configurator and the installers, you are ready for your very first login to your memory system. From here, we're going to go to our text file and we're going to grab the URL that was generated previously. And we're going to go ahead and place this into a browser and hit enter. Notice this is the very first time that you connect to your memory system. It's going to run a first time setup. It's going to ask for your access key. Let's grab that from your template file and copy it and paste it into the window. Now let's go ahead and create a passphrase. And to complete this first time setup, we're going to click Setup. And we're in. We're live. Your browser may offer to save the passphrase, or for our Face ID or Touch ID, go ahead and say yes. Make sure it makes it really simple for future logins. It makes them instant. I'm going to go ahead and add this as a bookmark. And to show you that all you need is your passphrase, I'm going to go ahead and sign out and then use the passphrase to log back in. The very first time you open the application, it opens with a prompt panel at the bottom. it gives you example starters to get started. Let's go ahead and try typing something in like this. I just met Tommy Jones at work. He's responsible for everything HR related. Once I hit enter here, the system will then generate a preview of what will be entered into your memory system for you to approve or modify. Let's go ahead and hit enter. Okay, here's the new records preview. It's very simple and concise, and you can save or edit right here in the Markdown document. I'll go ahead and hit save. And I'm going to go ahead and clear my context window by clicking on this button up here. And as if I'm logging in for the very first time, I can ask my memory system a question. Who do I talk to about HR issues? And it returns Tommy Jones is your HR contact. He's the HR lead at work. And at any time, you can click on the View Sources and see where this memory file was generated. And if you need to update it, you can update it now. So in closing, most AI memory tools out there, whether it's a device that records everything around you or a connected app that syncs to the cloud, they use something called vector search or RAG. They dump everything into a giant database and try to find the right pieces when you ask a question. It's pretty good, but it's making it its best guess. WhosWhoZoo takes a very different approach. When you ask a question, it loads entire memory corpus into Claude's context window. Claude has about 200,000 token context window, roughly equivalent to 2 full novels. Your personal memory files will be a fraction of that. So Claude sees everything you've ever saved all at once every time you ask. As a result, there's accuracy, no hallucinations, no misconnections, no, I think you mentioned that once. It just knows. That's why 20 minutes of setup is worth it. So that's the install. A few more steps than an app store, I know. But you've built something you own that costs almost nothing and that no company can read. The app is $15 at whoszoo.app. A one-time purchase. It includes both Windows and Mac. If you have questions, drop them in the comments and I'll help you out. Thanks for watching. I hope this gives you back some of your mental bandwidth.